You ready to get your fix? Are you ready? Are you ready to get your fix? Are you ready? Are you ready to get your fix? Are you ready? Are you ready to get your fix? Are you ready? Are you ready to get your fix? Are you ready? Are you ready to get your fix? Are you ready to get your fix? With the Wicks here on this beautiful, true Identity Tuesday, November 23rd, 2021, and welcome to the show. You know, today's main segment is obviously named True Identity Tuesday. But for some damn reason, it seems as if no team in the NFL actually has an identity. I mean, there's pieces here and there, like when the Tennessee Titans had Derrick Henry, he was their main piece. The Baltimore Ravens, their identity is obviously Lamar Jackson, but is it really? I mean, he just missed last week's game against the Chicago Bears. Tyler Huntley comes out, leads them to a game-winning drive, beat the Bears 16-13. Who knows what their identity is now? Still possibly Lamar Jackson. But we really have no fucking clue at all what any team's identity is in the NFL, because, I mean, we watch all these teams week to week. They win some, and then they lose some, where you just kind of sit there and you think to yourself, how the fuck how did that happen? Like, that, there's, what? Like, okay, sounds good, how you doing, keep it moving type of business, but, I mean, we have no idea, and that leaves not only me, but I'd assume everyone in the world, or everyone that loves football and loves watching the National Football League. You know, it leaves us, beyond confused on what the hell most of these teams are about. Obviously, like I mentioned, there are those, handful of teams, 2-3 teams that you know exactly what they are about, what their identity actually is. But then there's other teams. Like, what is their identity? But, however, I think we got a couple teams, all right, today to dive into their identities, and hopefully there's some good teams. No, they are. They're good. They're good teams. Don't worry about that. They're definitely some good ones. I got two picked out for today, basically, just based off what I thought I could do, what I thought I could give you guys, because, like I said, a lot of these teams, we have no idea what the heck they are all about. Other than that, though, obviously being True Identity Tuesday, we got to talk about that. We have to get to some recent news surrounding the Chicago Bears, the New York Giants, the Tennessee Titans, and, of course, last night's matchup between the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the New York Giants. So, are you ready to get your fix? Well, last night, Monday Night Football took place with the New York Giants traveling to, I think it's Raymond James Stadium there to take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and my boy Tom Brady was fired up. All right, the whole game, you can kind of tell he was ready to rock and roll. Had a couple rocky starts the last couple games, or last outings he's had, but he came into this game firing all cylinders, ready to rock and roll, does his iconic, jog out to the field, let's go type thing, having a blast, right? Tampa ends up winning this game 30-10. Could have been a lot worse than that. Obviously, there's a lot of times where the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, had the opportunity to march down the field and score. Just some, penalties left and right. Just things not working out, so to say, for them in their favor. I mean, a lot of field goals had to be kicked. I think it was like 3 field goals ended up having to be kicked by the Bucs, where they had a legitimate chance of scoring. All right, but 30-10 was a nice win, 20-point game, awesome for Tampa Bay, and really it kind of goes back to Tom. Obviously, the quarterback, the leader of the team. How well is Tom going to play? Because we've seen last week against the Washington football team, Tom goes out there, throws a pick right off the bat, throws another pick. He has like 2 or 3 or something like that, just ridiculous in the game. And that's kind of been the narrative the last couple weeks around Tom, is that, that offense just doesn't seem like they're all on the same page at times. And other times it's like, okay, well, now they're clicking, they're really getting going, or they're really starting to get going. But it's like, how? I mean, you got Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Rob Gronkowski, Cameron Brate, Leonard Fournette, Ronald Jones, Antonio Brown, who is hurt, hasn't played in a couple weeks, should be back hopefully next week. We'll see how that situation rolls out. But, I mean, this team is very, very capable of scoring at a high rate. I mean, you're looking at a rate that could be higher than what the Chiefs have been able to do in past times. Way more weapons than what the Chiefs have had. At least that's what, in my opinion, that's what I have seen, is that, Tampa has everything right where they need it, okay, to go make a playoff run, to make a Super Bowl run. And last night was, obviously they played a shitty team. They didn't play that great of a team, the New York Giants. And the Giants have really, they've been bad for 10 plus years now, and you think, like, what is going on? But Tom was fired up this game, the entire game, and it really started where you kind of noticed that Tom was, amped up, ready to rock and roll. This is football. This is where he thrives. This is what he loves to do. In the second quarter, Tom Brady had an 11-yard run where he slides and spikes some dude, takes him out at the ankles. It looked like it could have definitely been intentional. It definitely looked like that afterwards. Like, he kind of was running. Should I slide? No, I'm gonna wait. Let this guy come up on me a little bit more, and then bam, he slid. He fucking took that guy's leg out like it was nothing. Tom gets up. Let's fucking go. He just amped up, really ready to rock and roll. The whole entire game was his for the taking, basically. He controlled this entire game offensively for Tampa Bay. That defense for Tampa Bay played phenomenal. There was a lot of pass interference calls last night for Tampa Bay, and that's unfortunate. There was a really, really bad one to start off the third quarter. Where basically, that was a very, very bad pass interference call, but that has been the narrative the whole season. It's just pass interferences and taunting calls being very, very shitty, and like not wanting or having us not want that to be, a part of the game. Like, for a fact that probably wasn't pass interference. Take that call back. You have people in your head. Like, let's get this shit right, basically, is kind of what I'm trying to say here. But, defensively, Tampa played pretty solid. New York, they struggled. They struggled all night long. Couldn't get no offense going. Basically, the only time they were really starting to make some noise, if you will, was when Kadarius Toney got the ball. This man is fucking awesome. He's a straight up playmaker. You get the ball in his hands, he's gonna do incredible things with it, and we've seen that last night. We've seen that the week before and the week before that. This dude is just going out there making plays left and right, causing chaos, trying to get those extra 2-3 yards so that the Giants are able to keep their offense on the field a little bit longer, able to try to put them in the right position to score either a field goal or a touchdown, if that. But Kadarius Toney, he's a guy. And earlier in the season, if you guys don't know, Toney was actually quoted as saying, like, you guys need to play me more. Like, you guys got to get me on the field. I'm sick of sitting on the bench doing nothing. And even I think I made this comment where it's like, dude, you're a rookie. Okay, you have no right to say that. Nothing, like, you just, there's no possible way that you have the right to say that hey, I need to start. I'm a rookie, but I'm a playmaker. I'm a baller, and he made us eat our words. Not only me, but multiple broadcasters, multiple hosts of shows that have said something like that along the lines like, hey, dude, you cannot be saying that. A 4 of you can afford people. This man, he proved us wrong. That is for damn sure. He is very exciting. Had a massive, he has a rocket of an arm, and I never knew this. He was actually a high school quarterback, could actually throw the ball very, very well. I'm not really sure on all of his stats and all that, special stuff that goes in with that, but this man slung the ball. Like, he can sling that fucking ball. He drops back, throws a massive, the ball was probably in the air for 40, 45 yards, nearly hits his receiver. It was pass interference. Probably would have completed that pass if it weren't for the pass interference. But I mean, that was unreal. Tony is a game changer for the New York Giants, unlike Saquon Barkley. Now, I know that Saquon Barkley hasn't really got to play all that much the last couple of years because he's been injury-riddled left and right, basically. But right now, both him and Baker Mayfield have the exact same amount of rushing attempts, have the exact same amount of rushing yards, and I believe have the exact same amount of touchdowns. I'm not 100% sure if that's true. I just seen that little stat thing, and I was like, well, that's interesting. And I probably, should be a better host, be more professional, go out there, see if that's true, look at all the stat line. But, I mean, that caught my eye, and if it caught your eye, or if it catches your eyes, you guys are going to be doing the same thing. Hey, look at this, hey, what's this about? And if it is true, hey, let me know. That'd be fucking awesome, because that's something to have, that's a conversation to be had there. Like, is Saquon, the guy right now, anymore, I should say, for the Giants? Because he has been... he hasn't seen the field that much, but when he is on the field, he's a big difference maker. A lot of the defensive focus kind of shifts towards Saquon, shifts towards, keeping that backfield keeping that backfield from getting loose and causing, chaos, opening up other plays in the passing game and also, in the running game as well. But, the Giants, something's not right there, and I think we can all agree on that. Their defense has been playing pretty well, pretty solid, I'd say, but that offense just doesn't give that defense enough help, doesn't give them the opportunity to really win games, to really stay into games, and that's the sad part. Something needs to be figured out offensively, and we'll get to that in a bit. But also last night with Monday Night Football taking place, the Manning cast was back on ESPN2. It was absolutely electrifying. I loved it. I have loved it for the past couple weeks now. The first one that they did this season was a little rough, obviously, but hey, I go back to my first time doing the show, doing Get Your Fix, and I can't get through fucking 10 seconds of the video. Like, I start giggling. I start laughing. I'm like, what was I doing? Then you look at what I've been able to accomplish over these year and a half, 2 years basically, and it's like, wow, okay. Like, it takes a little time. It takes growth. It takes effort. It takes discipline. It takes all these, little things to build it. And the Mannings, they have definitely capitalized on having ESPN be a major producer of that show, having Omaha Productions, that's Peyton Manning's major production crew. They've had, a lot of help, and they're on the right track. The only thing they need to clean up is guests. It's having guests, okay? Like, they have 4 guests a game. Again, last night, like I noted yesterday, I said, hey, they need less guests because the other day, Al Michaels got on with like 2 minutes left to go in the first. They had to bring him like halfway through the second and then kick him off and bring on another guest right away. It's like, God, two guests. It's awesome. That's all you would need. Have one in the first half. Have one in the second half. Have them come in, start of the second quarter, stay the whole second quarter. Have one come in the fourth quarter, stay the whole fourth quarter. And the other thing with guests is just, like, they keep talking over each other. Like, one big takeaway that I have from the Manning cast, and they're probably not listening, they probably won't see this, but stop talking. Like, zip it. They talk way too much sometimes. Like, they just continuously, go and go and go, and they really don't figure out what's the right spot to stop at. But, overall, it's a very, very good, I guess it's a very good cast. It's a very good broadcast to watch games. It's more like if you were to watch like a show like we are now, or if you were to watch a podcast or like a good example. You and a couple buddies are sitting down watching a game. It's kind of like that. You're sitting there. You're kind of, talking about the game, dissecting it a little bit different. Okay, maybe a lot fucking different than what Peyton and Eli do, because they're 2 former legendary Hall of Fame quarterbacks that have played in the NFL for however long, years and years and years. Their whole family's basically been in there. Archie was a long-time quarterback in the NFL. So they know the game a little bit different, a little bit better than a lot of fans would, obviously. They know the formations, they know the schemes, they know the plays, they know the routes, they know literally everything. Okay, so that is a little different, but it's basically you and your friends sitting down watching a game, just kind of talking, BSing here and there. You might not catch a whole bunch of the game, but you're catching some of it, and you're getting a good, decent amount of content in your face and stuff like that. So it's a good thing. One big takeaway from last night, they had some really nice guests, obviously. I mean, big-time guests. The first one being Bill Parcells. That was awesome. I mean, he's looking old, though. I mean, and I forgot how old that man is, but he is a legendary coach, has been. He coached, I think the Cowboys. I think definitely the Bills. Multiple teams he's been a head coach of. He had a very, very good conversation with the Manning team. And joked around a little bit with Peyton's rookie year, throwing 13 or was it like 20-some interceptions and stuff like that. And he went on. And then they had Kevin Hart, and then they had Condoleezza Rice, and then they had Julian Edelman to hit it off. But one guest kind of pissed me off. And, I mean, it is what it is. It was really like queasy to watch. Like, I did not like this at all. Kevin Hart fucking sucked. He was garbage. Like, plain and simple. He was absolutely garbage. A lot of people might have said, oh, he killed it. He was awesome. He was doing this. He was doing that. Joke around, having a great old time. No, he fucking sucked. Like, absolute ass. I did not want to. I wanted to turn it off. I wanted to switch to the regular broadcast so I could get over it and get through it. And I was like, this is... Like, he tried way too hard. He tried popping jokes left and right. Like, literally every time he spoke, it was a joke. I mean, he started joking about, yeah, man, like, I used to play in Taiwan or Thailand or whatever, and I was the Pee-wee, all-state quarterback. Like, I had all these records, and just trying to act funny. Like, every single time he spoke, he tried to act funny, or put on a show, if you will, basically, for himself. Like, it was brutal. I wish you guys could have seen it, and if you did see it, I hope you guys agree with me, and if you don't agree with me, so be it. All right, because this is my opinion. This is what I think about it, and he is ass. He has a really, really big ego, I think, and he just can't get. He's in character. I feel like he's too much in character. He's not Kevin Hart himself. He's Kevin Hart, the character, the actor, the comedian. That's what he is trying to do, and that's what he was trying to do all last night. I did like, though, that he was popping jokes at the Giants because Eli was a Giants, quarterback for however many years, and Peyton loved that too. Every time Kevin fucking took a shot at the Giants, Peyton just leaned back and was just giggling, waiting for Eli to respond and stuff. That was probably the better part of the whole thing, but he continuously tried to do it, and I'm getting sick of it. Blah blah blah. It's moving on, and then we get to the end. Peyton Manning dissects one of these plays and what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers should have done or what the Patriots are used to doing, and said this whole spiel. And then Kevin Hart says this. He doesn't say this. Kevin Hart responds after that. He's like, yeah, well, Peyton, I was gonna say, and he said the exact same thing in a trying to be funny way. Okay, that Peyton said. Right back to him. Right then and there, I was like, all right, get this dude off the cast. Like, I do not want to see him anymore. That is very, very rude. To mock somebody, it felt like he was doing. It probably wasn't what he was doing, honestly, because that's just what he was trying to do. But it literally felt like he was mocking him. And it was even better that right after that happened, 2-minute warning hits. And then Peyton's like, all right, thanks, Kevin, for joining us. And we're at half here. And Kevin's like, what? What do you mean? And then Peyton's like, you're done. See you later. And obviously, I think that's basically because that his time was up and blah, 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 stuff like that. But, I mean, there has to be a little something in there where Peyton was like, all right, get this fucking douchebag out of here. Like, what the fuck were you trying? Like, why was he trying to do that? I have no idea. But he was just... It didn't sit well with me. Like, he was trying to act like as if he were a bigger person or a better person than what Peyton and what Eli and what everybody else in this world is. Like, he was like, I'm fucking Kevin Hart. That's basically what he was doing. Right in front of the screen, like, hey, how's it going? Like, this is me. What do you want to do? And it just joke after joke after, and they were bad jokes. They were stupid. They were irrelevant. And then he ends that with copying Peyton, mocking Peyton, and that's what I seen in my eyes. It was like, okay, get this guy out of here. And I think a lot of people would agree. A lot of people probably not. They would disagree with me. But hey, that was a big takeaway from the Manning cast. But overall, pretty good game last night for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, beating the New York Giants 30-10. And like I noted earlier, the Giants need to figure out something offensive because nothing seems to be working. And with that being said, actually, earlier this morning, the Giants decided to fire offensive coordinator Jason Garrett, longtime head coach for the Dallas Cowboys, comes over to the New York Giants for the past 2 seasons and gets fired. Well, I mean, it was coming, obviously. The Giants are sitting at 3-7 right now. They're last in the NFC East. I believe they were last place last year as well. Just a team that, I mean, flat out have been garbage the past couple of seasons, or the past 10 years, basically. They're just ass. And this whole year, having a 3-7 record, they've been outscored 246 to 189. And their defense is really the only thing kind of keeping them in game, giving them hope, basically. And 4 out of their next 7 games are against division opponents. That being the Eagles twice, the Cowboys once, and then the Washington football team once as well. And the reason, I mean, Jason Garrett needed to be fired. Okay, apparently since the start of 2020, which Jason Garrett got the start in 2020, they are last in red zone touchdowns or something like that with like 47. Or it's ridiculous the amount that they have. It's sickening. Like, it is so sad that you cannot find a way to get into the end zone, especially being that close. It's like, okay, something needs to change. They end up firing Jason Garrett, or firing Jason Garrett today. And the news broke that Freddie Kitchens, former head coach of the Cleveland Browns, I believe he's the tight ends coach for the New York Giants, will be taking over the offensive play calling. I believe they play Sunday or something like that. So it'll be interesting to see how it kind of goes, how he goes about his game plan and how the Giants kind of execute it during their game. But I have little to no hope for the Giants. You know, like I said, their defense is the only thing kind of keeping them afloat. They needed to do something about their offense. They tried to do something. Hopefully it works out, firing offensive coordinator Jason Garrett. Another guy that might be, or actually is on the hot seat, Chicago Bears head coach Matt Nagy. During the game, it was heard that the fans are chanting, "Fire Nagy," basically, right? So they were doing that whole spiel. Game ends. They lose 16-13 to a backup quarterback, Tyler Huntley, and the Baltimore Ravens. Then at the Chicago Bulls game, the same chants were coming out. "Fire Nagy." But not only there, in those 2 places, in the Bulls arena and in the game, all right, for Chicago. But Matt Nagy has to deal with those same exact chants when he goes to his kids' high school football games as well. The high school is rallying around the fans of the Chicago Bears saying, "Fuck this guy, get him out of town, and fire Nagy." Just chanting it as much as they can. He's trying to watch his sons play football. His sons are trying to, get into colleges, get into the NFL possibly later on in life. Who knows? Hey, it might be time. But you can't just give in to the majority of what people are saying, obviously, that being the fire Nagy chants and stuff. But I mean, something's not right there. And Nagy actually stated after a report stating Thursday, is this going to be, or is Thursday going to be your last game as head coach? And he said, well, that's not accurate, because there's reports saying that Thursday on Thanksgiving, that'll be Matt Nagy's final game. He's going to get fired after that game, and the Bears are going to move on. And he's like, nope, that ain't accurate. Well, you kind of got to believe him a little bit, kind of have, because it's Matt Nagy. He's going to know whether or not he's going to be fired unless, the GM or owner released this For some reason, I doubt they would do something like that. They would obviously want to let him know first, hey, like Thursday's your last game. Be ready, basically. But I think it's time, or his time is coming up, whether that be, after Thursday or after the end of the season. His time's coming because he has a career record of 31-27 in the regular season. He's 0-2 in the playoffs in 4 years as the Chicago Bears head coach. His first season, he won the division. His second season, he got third in the division. Last year, they got second in their division. And then this year, they're currently sitting at third in the division. They'd probably be last if the fucking Lions would just pull their, head out of their butt and just start playing some good football. And, I mean, this is just it's a rough season for the Bears because they have a good team. All right, they did lose Khalil Mack, obviously. I think it's a season-ending injury. Allen Robinson's a little banged up. They don't know who the fuck's going to be their starting quarterback. And I think that a lot of that has to do with Matt Nagy and the way he thinks about going about things and his ego and stuff like that. Comes out at the beginning of the season, hey, Andy Dalton's our starter. He's our guy going forward. Andy gets hurt. Justin Fields comes in, starts tearing it up, looking promising. He's the guy as of right now. Andy Dalton's still back, but Justin Fields can be the guy. And now, after their loss to the Ravens, where Andy Dalton actually had to come in, Matt Nagy says, hey, look, Andy Dalton's our starter Thursday. He's the guy we want going forward. Why? I don't like this, at all. Obviously, I'm not a coach. I'm not a GM. I'm not an owner. But just thinking about it. You started with the veteran. Things weren't really working out. You say, take a seat, bub. Okay, because obviously he's injured. You bring in Justin Fields, the rookie, the guy that's supposed to be your franchise quarterback for the next however many years, the guy that you drafted, you trusted every bit of the money that you gave him in. So he comes in. And now you're all of a sudden saying, no, Justin needs to rest, he needs to sit, he needs to calm down, Dalton needs to play, he might get us wins. You know what this reminds me of? Last year, I believe it was, when they had Nick Foles, Mitchell Trubisky, and they just kept flip-flopping. Who's going to be the guy? Who's going to be the guy? Let one of them go. I'm not saying, get rid of them from the organization or cut. I'm saying, let one of them play the entirety of the season, the rest of the season. You said, hey, Justin, this is your time right now. Even when Andy came back and was healthy, why not give the ball and let the rookie roll? Let him, make mistakes and figure out the mistakes that he made so he doesn't make them again. Let him have the ball. It doesn't make any fucking sense to me. It just basically says that Matt Nagy doesn't trust anything the Chicago Bears offense is doing. And he doesn't believe that Justin Fields can lead them to a W, can lead them, to the playoffs and beyond. Well, you're a fucking idiot. You are this is only going to piss Justin Fields off. Okay, this is probably going to be exciting for Andy Dalton. Obviously, he gets to go out there and showcase his skills one last time, but give the guy you trusted everything. Give the guy a chance. Give Justin Fields that chance. He's a rookie. He's going to be going into his, second year next year. Let all this, the rookie kind of, the dust get knocked off his shoulders so he's ready to perform, ready to be at an elite level in the NFL. That's how I take it. What do you not, what's not working here? You're already fucking 3-6 on the season. There's no chance you're gonna make their 3-6. There's no chance, or 3-7, I believe now actually. No chance you're gonna make the playoffs. No chance you're gonna go to the Super Bowl. Let the rookie do what he can and just play. Who cares at this point? Your job's already fucking done. You're gonna get fired at the end of the year whether you like it or not. And with this decision, which I believe is a bad one, and might affect Justin Fields, but I don't think it's going to have that big of an effect. But he's on the hot seat, and not only are Bears fans calling his name, the Chicago Bulls fans are calling his name. His son's high school fans are also calling his name. The whole world is saying, "Hey, man, get the fuck out of there!" Chicago, Come on, Bears. Fire Matt Nagy. Get him out of town because he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. He doesn't know what he's doing. Like, he has no clue. Like, it just doesn't make sense at all why you're going to keep flip-flopping quarterbacks because one of them just all of a sudden hit a little wall, hit a little slump or something like that, and you're like, oh, he's fucking done. Like, no, let him get out of that slump. Let him work it out. Keep Justin in there. Why? It just ruffles my feathers a little bit. But, I mean, if it were me, depending on Thursday's game, win, I'll keep him. Lose, see you later. Basically is how I'd put it. Out of town, Matt Nagy, see ya. That's how I would do it. That's kind of the way I would. But also, if he wins, I'd continue to reevaluate him week in and week out. What is he doing? What do we like? Why isn't he going to be the guy going forward as our head coach? Because basically, at the end of the season, he's done. Like, there's no way. If he wanted to keep his job, he would have had to go to the playoffs this year, and he's not going to do that. That's just tough shit, basically, is how I got to put that. It's just tough shit. So let's move on to another person who was kind of cut, or I guess released. The Titans ended up waiving Adrian Peterson. At 36 years old, the man finally got a chance. He was a free agent, ready to rock and roll at any time. Gets signed by the Tennessee Titans, who lost Derrick Henry. Need a running back in that backfield. And Sunday happened. Nothing wrong with Adrian at all. But Tennessee just couldn't get anything going offensively. And that has a major part to do with the way Julio Jones has been playing. And he hasn't been playing, I don't think, the last week or two. A.J. Brown, he's been dealing with some injury stuff and some, upset stomachs and stuff like that. So they decide we need to add something a little bit better. Okay, we have a deep backfield. I believe they have 4 running backs, counting Derrick Henry and not counting Adrian Peterson in that backfield. Okay, the wide receiver core is a little thin. So the Titans had to make a move. They ultimately waive Adrian Peterson. He has till, I believe, I would say it's tomorrow at 3, but at the same time, I think it's a couple days, but I'm not 100% sure. I just know he has a little bit of time to clear waivers because any team in the NFL can go pick him up off of waivers. Obviously, worst record has highest priority or has first priority to sign him. So if the Detroit Lions want him, they can go take him and pick him up or whatever. And then once he clears waivers, he would be a free agent once again. Okay, so they had to let him go. In 3 games for the Tennessee Titans, he had 27 rushes, 82 yards, had a touchdown, so not too bad. But because they cut Adrian Peterson and I said their wide receiver room is a little thin, they had to go out and sign one. So they signed wide receiver Golden Tate. And that's a big sign, I think. He played for the Giants last year. He played for the Lions a little bit here and there. So Golden Tate's going to be a good threat for Tennessee. It's just how well he buys into that organization, buys into the culture, and stuff like that. So that's a huge signing. They had to do this. Obviously, it's just it's a business. It's going to happen. It sucks for Adrian because now you kind of look at it and go, like, is this it? Is that the last time we got to see Adrian Peterson, Mr. All Day, play NFL football? I hope not, because he's obviously still capable of doing something, obviously capable of going out there and performing. But it very well might just be the last time we have ever got to see Adrian Peterson touch the NFL field as a player, as a running back in the National Football League. That sucks. It's sad. But one hell of a career if that is the case. I doubt it's going to be. I think he's going to hold off and wait for an offer here or there. There's probably teams, and there might be teams down the road, especially if injuries happen, that he could end up going to. But it'll be interesting to see how that works. I mean, they still have Jeremy McNichols and Deonta Foreman as their in their backfield, so they'll be the ones taking over for the absence of both Derrick Henry and now Adrian Peterson, who was waived. So I just thought that'd be a good piece of information for you guys because obviously a lot of the people that have seen this show or have watched this show or are watching this show are, Minnesota Vikings fans. Obviously, there's a couple out there that, Pittsburgh Steelers fan is one of them. I mean, a Browns fan is one of them. A Packers fan is one of them that have been on the show or have commented on the show. And there's probably a whole bunch of fans around here that are on YouTube, on Facebook, that are fans of different teams. But they know who the hell Adrian Peterson is. I mean, come on. I mean, It is what it is, right? You know. It's all day, okay? And he's loose. When you hear that, you just know it's number 28 running down the field for a fucking 60-yard touchdown. It's just, he's electrifying. It sucks for him. But hopefully he finds a new home. Because I don't want this to be his last, or don't want that to be his last, outing, wearing an NFL uniform. So now it is time to dive into True Identity Tuesday. So for this one, we go and we find a couple teams that we know what their true identity is all about. What this team, what this culture, what are they doing Sunday to Sunday? How do you beat them? Why can you beat them? And stuff like that. That is what we're diving into today. We have two teams. We have a team from the AFC. We have a team from the NFC. Both of these teams are getting hot at the right time. Hopefully they have some time to make up ground to try to, put themselves in that first place spot in their divisions. The first team being the Indianapolis Colts. They're getting hot. Hard Knocks has just dropped last Wednesday. Their second episode will drop tomorrow, I believe at 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. fucking Central Time. It's a late one. I don't know why they do it that late, but hey, it is what it is, right? But the Indianapolis Colts, they're on a roll. They're second in their division at this point. I mean, obviously with the Texans and the Jaguars just stinking up the locker room and stinking up the football field, it is what it is, obviously. But the Colts are getting hot at the right time. And their true identity lies in the run game. Jonathan Taylor is a fucking stud. Like, I think we can all agree on that. Jonathan Taylor is an absolute freak of nature when he's running the ball and in that backfield for the Indianapolis Colts. He is awesome. He's incredible to watch. And in his last 3 games, Jonathan Taylor, last game, 185 yards, 4 rushing touchdowns, also had 1 receiving touchdown. That was against the Bills. The game before that, they played the Jacksonville Jaguars, had 116 rushing yards, 1 touchdown. The game before that, they played the Jets and had 172 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns. They won every single one of those games. The game after that one, or before that one, so 4 games ago, he had 70 or 72 yards. I believe they lost that one. Okay, but, you get this man over 100 rushing yards, you're more than likely going to win the game. And I think that's been very apparent the last couple weeks for the Indianapolis Colts. And obviously the run game is what you always want to start. The run game really opens up the pass game. Okay, really helps that defense, be able to, get that momentum on their side. Stop opposing offenses from doing what they want. That run game, it really all starts with that run game. If you can run, at least get 4 or 3.5 yards per carry, you're sitting pretty. Because now teams are going to be like, oh, fuck. We got to focus on the run game a little bit as well as the pass game. Now that opens up some passing routes, some passing tree and stuff like that. And then once you open up that passing route or the passing tree, you start scoring points. You start doing it at will. And that is exactly what the Indianapolis Colts were able to do last week against the Buffalo Bills, beating them 41-15. Thanks to Jonathan Taylor and his 5 touchdown day. I mean, he had 35 of those 41 points. That's ridiculous. 30 because you have to, 6 touchdowns, 6 points for each touchdown. So 6 times 5 is 30. The final score would be, obviously 7 points if you score a touchdown, if you make the extra points. So you get what I'm trying to say. 30 of the 41 points Jonathan Taylor was responsible for. The Colts' identity is definitely the run game. Jonathan Taylor's stats last year, he had 1,169 rushing yards. Averaged 5 a carry, had 11 touchdowns. He also had 299 receiving yards and a touchdown. This year already, in 4 less games, Jonathan Taylor has 47 less rushing yards. Okay, he has 1,122 rushing yards, which is 5.8 a carry. 13 touchdowns, so that's 2 more than the previous year or last year's rookie year. And he also has 322, so 23 more receiving yards than last year, and 1 more touchdown than last year. He has 2 this year. This man's getting hot. This guy's a top 5 running back in the NFL at this point. Okay, he's the leading rusher in the NFL. He's right there with the touchdowns. You get Jonathan Taylor going, and you get him going early, the Colts always have a chance. As long as that defense continues to play, they have been. As long as the passing attack is still relevant, because if you can't get the passing game going, if that run game is open, man, it's going to be a long day for you. Like you're going to run the time off the clock. It's just going to be a slow, boring, bummer of a game. But I think the Colts have figured it out. Michael Pittman Jr. is playing phenomenal. T.Y. Hilton has to get a little bit more involved. Mo Alley Cox is looking awesome. Carson Wentz is playing ridiculous football. The Colts are getting hot at the right time, and their true identity is the run game. Another team we're going to talk about today lies in the NFC. They're currently second in their division, but sitting at 5-6, right behind the Dallas Cowboys, who I think are 7-3 at this point in the season. But this team has a chance. We talked about it yesterday. They have a chance to win their division, potentially. This team is the Philadelphia Eagles. The Philadelphia Eagles, it seems as if there's one particular person that we all kind of keep in mind when we think about the Eagles this year. And last year, I guess, a little bit. Not too much last year, but for sure this year. It's safe to say that not only I have seen this, and you guys have probably seen this, but the Philadelphia Eagles' true identity is Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is a fucking animal. This man is ridiculous on the football field. We talked about it on Fantasy Football Friday. This man is scoring fantasy points left and right, having 20-plus basically every single game besides one or two, I think it is, and he was really close those two games. But he's their leading rusher, I think, at this point. He's obviously going to be their leading passer, okay? But he's what's keeping that train afloat. He's what's keeping that team afloat. Jalen Hurts, that's the conversation every week. Jalen Hurts. Keep Jalen Hurts safe. Get Jalen Hurts the ball. Let him scramble outside the pocket. Let him make plays. Let him cause chaos. Let him do this. Let Jalen Hurts lead the Eagles to victory. And that's why I say Jalen Hurts is the Eagles' true identity. Because you stop Jalen, you have a very, very good chance. A very, very good chance of beating the Philadelphia Eagles. But if he gets rolling, it might not look like he's rolling. 147 passing yards, no touchdowns passing in the air last week. But he had, 3 touchdowns rushing last week. He's a big piece of that offense, both passing and rushing. Jalen Hurts is a very good piece for the Eagles to have. Because otherwise, I don't think they would have much hope over there. Their defense is, like I said, hit and miss. And when they miss big. Their offense, they have young receivers. Jalen Reagor's really not living up to par. Devontae Smith is a guy, for the most part. He just has to get his feet under him a little bit more and start making those plays. Kind of, I think year 2 will really be his flourishing year. Maybe year 3, obviously, will be his flourishing year. But Jalen's playing unbelievable football for the Eagles, doing whatever he can, trying to put them in the right position to win games, trying to put them in the right position to possibly put up a fight for the division. Currently, this season, Jalen Hurts has a completion percentage of 61.6, has 2,306 passing yards, 13 touchdowns, only 5 interceptions. On the ground, he has 114 rushes, 618 yards, and 8 touchdowns as well. So 21 total touchdowns, 5 interceptions, I believe only 3 fumbles on the year, 2,300 yards passing, over 60% completion percentage. He's keeping the Eagles alive. He's doing whatever he can back there. I mean, he's got a lot on his plate, and he's doing a phenomenal job of it. They're coming off a huge win against the New Orleans Saints, 40-29. I mean, the stats really don't say much. But if you hear all the noise and all the news and all the speculations and all this surrounding the Eagles, it all goes back to one guy. And that one guy is the Philadelphia Eagles' true identity, Jalen Hurts. So with that being said, we have one little bit, or one more piece of information, in which that is Man in the Arena, Tom Brady's documentary about his 10 Super Bowl appearances through his eyes. You get to see that, get to experience that, and what actually happened, what took place. The first episode aired last Tuesday. It debuted last Tuesday. It was a phenomenal showing. I loved it. It made me love this guy even more, and I don't know how I could, because, I mean, I could show you the jersey, but I mean, I was number 12 for football, baseball. When I played basketball briefly, okay, I mainly wrestled, but I mean, I was number 12 because of that guy. You know, I mean, I was a New England Patriots fan because of that guy. Like, it is what it is. I mean, it was awesome. Number 1 was awesome. Episode 2 is currently out now. I did say it airs tonight, but before the show, I went and I wanted to go see what time it started. Go on ESPN Plus to see upcoming. Now that fucking thing's been out for a couple hours, maybe the whole goddamn day, maybe since yesterday. I have no goddamn clue. Why do they even have release times? Like, if it's already out there, why the hell do you say this will release or air at 9 p.m. Eastern time? No, it won't. It's out, doofus. It's all over fucking Instagram. Like, what? Can we just hold the horses and wait a little bit so we can fucking watch it, and then we can digest it a little bit, put all these stories up, go on Instagram, post about it? Like, I've only seen one post, and as soon as I seen it, I shut that Instagram down real quick because I knew I was going to have to go watch that later, because it is out now, episode 2. I'm not really sure what it's called. All I know is it's about this guy and his second Super Bowl appearance with the New England Patriots. So that'll be awesome. It does, I was going to say it airs at 8 p.m. Central Time, but hey, it's out right now on ESPN Plus. I believe it is on Hulu, but it might be because it's the Disney Plus, ESPN Plus, and Hulu all have that bundle, so it's like, yeah, it's right there. So it might only be on ESPN Plus, but you can go check out Hulu as well, especially if you have Hulu TV. I'm sure it's on that. But it will be on ESPN Plus. It is actually out there right now, ready to rock and roll. It's about an hour long. Should be a banger. Again, obviously. I mean, it's fucking the greatest to ever play in the NFL. The greatest to ever do it. Tom fucking Brady, baby. And that is all we have for you today. Thank you so much for watching the show, whether that be on Facebook or YouTube. And if you are on YouTube, see this color? There's a button like it. It says fucking subscribe. Hit that button for me. It'd be much appreciated. Hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your night. Go watch Man in the Arena, Tom Brady, episode 2 on ESPN Plus. I know I will. And with that, you just got your fix with the Wicks. Thank you guys and have a great one.